Welcome to the writer's segment of Paint the Town, Write the Town. I'm Jim Richards, president of Artists in Action, and I'd like to introduce you to the authors and their reading of their entries for this year's submissions. Thank you for watching.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Johnston, and I'm so glad to be part of the Paint the Town, Write the Town. And I brought a few poems that are in the show that I'd like to read. For you, I will draw a flower every morning and every night, even if I pass each day in a scrim of yearning for all I have lost, for all I could have done, while the world stops. As I draw one soft petal at a time, one stem, the silky new buds that unfold, their heads inclined, look up at the new moon. I will stay here, right here, waiting. And I translated it into Spanish. Día 82 al despertar. Para ti, dibujaré una flor cada mañana y cada noche, aunque me despierte el alba con un vuelo de añoranza por todo lo que he perdido, por todo lo que puede haber hecho, mientras el mundo se detenía. Mientras dibujo un pétalo suave, a la vez un tallo, los nuevos cápulos sedosos que lucen, sus cabezas inclinadas miran hacia la luna nueva. Me quedaré aquí mismo, esperando. There it is, sitting on the gate at the lookout. How the whole small osprey eyes me, wide-eyed, orphaned as it is, its mother killed on the road by a passing car, or was it an illness that caused her to fly, then fall? The baby bird flies toward me, then away confused, maybe eager for an explanation. There is a small group of us gathered in the parking lot of the refuge. I have only the camera's click to offer, the soft cooing of support. Hardly sustenance for a foundling left on the side of the road. I hope it will seek something to eat on its own, not the stale potato chips in the trunk of a car. I hope the woman someone called at the Raptor Rescue Center will do as promised, come in the morning, since it is already late afternoon and she is miles away. The small bird eyes us, clueless in our worry. We will leave it here, and I will dream tonight about what I could have done, what the bird will do without its mother, what any of us can do, now left struggling most days of late, as if left out in the cold, in a world we hardly recognize anymore. I've crossed this bridge hundreds of times, yet I saw it so clearly today. Two snags, as if the frame of a picture opened into the world below. The homeless man follows me with his shopping cart, with all he owns, telling me in his slurred speech and watery eyes about the woman in his tent who refuses to wake up, and it's already late afternoon. I want so much to stand alone and write without worrying about this man and his cart full of belongings that could fill one cabinet in our garage, or the woman in his blue tarp tent, and how I begin to save her from all this, with my mask and gloves and my Purell and my whiteness, if she'd even let me in. The view through the window looks inviting, opened into a world I can peek through for this brief look before returning to a house with a lock and a key and a fridge that's full. The man wheels his treasures away, leaving me his blessings in the waning bits of light, like the prayer he'll repeat before forking the first bite of supper later at the mission. I see the back of him as he moves through the day, the money I gave him still in his fist, all the things he could have asked me for, money for booze, drugs, a smoke, but no, only directions to the nearest laundromat. I continue to watch him as he moves on, and I think of all the ways to describe the soul of a place, the truths we need to paint and to write, to remind ourselves it was real.
Hi, my name is Jade Rosina McCutcheon, and I'm a local poet with the Salem Poetry Project, and I work with Artists in Action. And these are 3 poems I wrote in response to 3 different locations that I visited. This poem, Crossing, was inspired by a visit to the Wallace Marine Park in Salem. And there's a spot where you can see 3 bridges crossing the Willamette River, very close to each other. And they're all different and quite magical. And it got me to thinking about what is a bridge. Crossing. Underneath boys fish, ducks dive, rocks stand silent, still in reflection, overhead wheels rattle, bicycles roll, feet crunch across the sturdy old connection between one land and another. No longer do we drive wagons and bullocks across swirling muddy waters. That gap is bridged between nature and industry. You 3 bridges over the graceful, moving blue, green and brown lifeblood artery Willamette River. Hold us up, carry us over. Connect east with west. Help us avoid the water. Nature does not travel over bridges. This second poem is inspired from visiting Deepwood in Salem, Oregon. And I hadn't really wandered through the gardens there before, and I didn't realize that they were also sections of the garden were called rooms. So my ignorance was partly responsible for this response. Deepwood. She pointed me towards the horse chestnut. There's a room in there, she said. So I wandered across green themes looking for a room, hiding in invisible edges, moving shadows, spattered light. How is nature a room? How is a tree a room? Especially the horse chestnut, where no liminal spaces invite a potential tea party. Not like the Moreton Bay fig, also called the Australian banyan tree, where huge bark arms enfold a child's wild story, where the branches re-enter the earth, forming caches and larders, dungeons and castles. Not even like Enid Blyton's faraway tree, where inhabitants like Moonface and the Saucepan Man test the climber's tenacity on the way to the top, where another land or room awaits. I stand confused under the horse chestnut, willing a room to appear. The sun shrieks across a chestnut leaf. Then I see it. No edges, no ladders, no moon face, just space and light. Here is a room. Here is a room. What is freedom? And it was inspired by a scene I witnessed in Minto Brown Island dog park. And it was between a black man and a white man. And they were using their dogs as a kind of medium to argue through. And I just found it very sad, because the dog park was one place that I find healing, nurturing, and a great place to go. And so this is the poem I wrote in response to witnessing that interaction. What is freedom? When I first emerged as a newborn from the sea, there was a moment of breath, of freedom and possibility. I was placed in seawater, along with millions who were also damaged by the rough hands of Mother Ocean. C ward does not get on with B ward, and A ward hates everybody who isn't A ward. I see daily, if not hourly, attacks from the people of one ward on another. Today, one black man and one white man spoke to each other harshly, unkindly, fearfully. They wanted each other gone, off the planet, away, exiled, cancelled, deceased, punished, imprisoned, out of sight, sent to another place. I've been sitting here in this asylum a long time, watching each one arrive from places they had no freedom, asking for asylum here to escape oppression, hatred, bigotry, homophobia, racism. Everyone here takes drugs of one kind or another, and we all blame each other, hate each other, wish each other not present, in exile, requesting asylum. I miss the ocean.
Hello, my name is Mike Schuler. I'm a member of the Mid-Valley Poetry Society, and I've been participating in this event since writers were included, I think about 4 years ago. I've written 2 poems this year. I visited as part of this year's Paint the Town, Write the Town Legacy Estate Vineyards, and a friend and I walked around the lake, and I just basically observed and jotted things down as we went around. This is the poem that came with that experience. Circling the Lake. We walk vineyard trails around the lake where dragonflies dip and glide, and frogs intone passages before leaping and splashing from shade into water. You take photographs of the dragonflies, the orange winged and red, the variegated black and gray, capturing them in flights low over lilies. Slow trickle sliding in a wet rivulet from haven of young birch, below tall firs on the ragged hill crest, and blue sky punctuated by dark shapes, whose shadows cross trail and shoreline, where a bird lies unmoving as others flip from cover to cover and fly in rapid beats across open space. And we walk the path past the deck, up the steps into shadow and out, past plein air artists painting the vines, the light from lake and the trees above, while I sprawl in my notepad this and more, recalling leaf movement and breeze on face, seeing landscape and lake and day, in air and on canvas and on the page. This occurred as I was standing by the side of the river up in the park, and I was looking down on the Willamette Queen. So I came away from that with this poem titled Riverboat Reverie. Above the Willamette Queen, at dock on the river bend, near the mouth of Mill Creek, I am transported to another life, in a reminiscence not mine, from stories read of other times, from films flashing by, from photographs from imagined lives of those who stood here, seeing crowded boats and skiffs navigating the valley on the wide waterway, hauling farm products and people to and from the Columbia River and Independence Landing, hearing from downriver a shout and whistle of steam and water lap on gravel bar.
My name's Dina Trieste, and I wrote this poem at Cubanissimo Vineyards in West Salem. It was a lovely afternoon, very hot in August when I went. Rosado de Pinot Noir, August 2020. On the crest of these Eola hills, a breeze of longing passes over me, whispering, absence of touch in my quarantined world. I turn my masked face away from couples at the winery, salsa dancing, lithe bodies twirling around each other. A patio palm tree shades me. I might be in Cuba. Distance is my word now, as I rise and walk toward the south block of vines. A blue-gray haze hovers over this Willamette Valley. The Cascade Mountains are dim in the distance. Hillsides dip down, hiding the vastness of this landscape. A gust brushes my skin, teasing my senses, then sweeps off my straw hat, caressing and lifting my hair like gentle fingers. The sun leaves its blush on my face, and with the warmth of a gentle hand on my back, draws me into the vineyard. Here, a crashing light beats down on the grapes where they soak in solar rays, the intensity urging them to express their somewhereness.
Humanless by Lisa Zahler, September 2020. Earth would astonish with no humans upon it, but astonishment there could not be. Only creatures thriving, flora proliferating, elements pure, noiseless.